What's going on, Team Tactile? We are back with another Switch review, and today I am excited to look at these Durock T1 Tactile Switches. You can see here, if I get a little closer, these are the clear variation with a 67-gram spring. So they are definitely, in this configuration, a heavier tactile switch, which is actually part of the reason why I got them. They are way above, I'd say, anything else as far as the 67-gram goes. It sounds silly when we're talking about kind of, 59 versus 67, but I had used these for a while and definitely saw a difference. But before we get into kind of the discussion there, let's take a look at what we got. So for one, I am always a stickler for packaging, and thank you, Durock, for providing these in a container that is reusable, that is on par with what people want to see in the mechanical keyboard world. We like to store our switches in jars and things like this. So this is fantastic. Do this all the time. Let's crack one of these open. They do come factory lubed, so no issue there. Obviously, a lot of you out there may choose to lube them yourself, which is not a huge deal. You just have to remove what's in there. But overall, you are getting a pretty standard construction here. So you have a nice clear bottom housing, a gold-plated spring, again 67 grams on that. You got your top housing here, and then your stem piece as well, if I can get it. Always hard to get it to pick up how much factory lube is on there, but it's actually glistening a little bit, so definitely we're not shy about the factory lubing on these, but they actually are pretty smooth, so they did a good job there. Let me just go ahead and put this back together real quick. And there you go. So first things out of the box or out of the jar, again, they're definitely a heavier switch with that 67-gram spring. I can feel it when I'm just playing with it. And sound-wise, you get a lot of tactile switches, at least ones that I tend to really enjoy, that come out of the box and even just going like this are really clicky already. These feel a little more tame in the sound, so it could be interesting to do a sound profile comparison on them. But otherwise, they are pretty much what you'd expect. This is a switch that pops up a lot online if you're like me and still think that you can just go, what are the best whatever, and if you say what are the best tactile switches out there, these tend to fall into a list a lot of the times. Now they do come in various spring strengths, and I think you may be better off going with something a little lighter than the 67-gram. Again, I actually wanted to get something stronger. I'd like to have some variation, because if all the switches were the same, we'd be doing the same review over and over. But I did find I had these in a keyboard that I was using for work for actually quite a bit. And these were the first switches that actually gave me some sort of like finger fatigue from typing. I'm a very heavy typer. I throw that out there. So it's a great feel, but typing wise, you may want to go with something closer to their 62, because I tend to think in the 59 to 62 is a really healthy spot. Other than that, price-wise, they're pretty great, coming in at around, looks like right now they're $59 with a 10% coupon on top of that for 110 of these. So that's close to 52, 53 cents a switch. And that makes them probably worth it on their own, because that's a pretty good price. But let's pop these into a keyboard and see what we're dealing with. And we can do some final thoughts from there. So we have the Durock T1s in the Monsgeek M1. This is using just some ACO ABS keycaps. And let's go ahead and do a quick sound test. All right, so quick wrap up here on what we think about the Durock T1s. Overall, they are a nice switch. Really no complaints as far as construction goes. I would say that, like I've mentioned a couple of times, the heavier springs, so these are 67 gram, might be a little much if you're a heavy typer like I am or typing a lot. But again, that's personal preference. I would probably err though on the side of closer to like the 62s. Otherwise, the clear housing makes RGB shine through real nice, so no issues there. I love how they come packaged with a jar, so you can either keep them as a reserve on the side, you can swap out your current switches and put those in the jar. I'm just a big stickler for packaging. And the sound itself, it's not the most crisp sound. It's a little more muted, I would say, but that's not a big deal. I used this in a work keyboard for a while, for instance, just because I liked having less sound, less clickiness. It makes it a little easier if you're somebody who has to type and talk at the same time. So overall, a good switch, readily available, packaged nicely, but just make sure you're paying attention to how strong of a spring you're getting in them, because I think that's going to make or break them. If you want something really, really clicky and really heavy tactilely feel, these may not be the best one for you. But if you're looking for something that's kind of a little bit more of a mushy switch, this could definitely be up your alley. So that's going to do it all for this video. Thanks everyone again for tuning in. If you're interested in anything that I use, I always try to link everything down in the comments below. And if you want to support what I'm doing, the best thing you can do is always like, comment, and subscribe. So I will see you all in the next one.